some information on a grant you received.
Okay, we'll move to item 2, approval of agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Oh, sorry.
Real quick.
Are you
I
missing something?
thought the grant, wasn't the grant on there? Did we, okay. We have to add the grant on items for the information for the board.
Do you want to add it to
Report.
it's 8? It's not for board action, it's information.
Just information.
See. Okay. What's the grant? What's the name of it?
Oregon Natural Resources Educational Foundation. Making them more money.
So we have a motion on that.
I move to approve the agenda with noted change.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Delegation of visitors. This is for anyone that wants to speak to any of the agenda items tonight. So I don't know if anybody wants to speak on that. Otherwise, we'll move on. Okay, all right. So move to item 4, items of information for the board, superintendent report.
All right. So it just talks about our high school students working with learning opportunities and happenings over the past month. Science Club did their 5-day trek across the state. It's pretty exciting looking at the different parts of the aspects of science and engineering. I even told you a little bit when parent, when I was talking on the phone with her, it said every night when she spoke to her student or when they're just texting, she's like, I want to do this now. Oh, I want to do this now. And anytime you can have students change their mind based on what you're working on, that's pretty great. Or what you're going to check out, that means there's a lot of interest there from the students. And the kids that I've spoken with just said it was great. And you're unsure, when you go to Houston one time and you're going to NASA and all that stuff, and then the next year you're saying we're going to Boise. You're not quite sure how they're going to respond to that, but they responded really well to it. So we had 16 students, and it was a hit overall. So very grateful that Mr. Ferguson has moved closer to Perrydale. I think that allows him to have more time to do other things. He's home more often, so I think when he does these trips, his wife's given the blessing, and it's been very great for our students. So very thankful for that. So, and our students took part in the annual CDE days at Oregon State University about a week ago, where they completed, or 2 weeks ago almost now, they competed, in events like ag mechanics, communication, crops, in addition to a handful of other activities, with the meat judging and the milk, etc. So, and did really well. They enjoyed their time there. Some of the kids are very new to it, so they still have to keep working on that and learning. Just like today, they went to a competition with forestry, first time they've ever done it. So they were 13th out of 16th, and one of the students said, Mr. Fairchild told me when he got back tonight, hey, earlier this year when you had us do this, 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 and this, was that in preparation for today? Yes, it was. Just like I told you. And he's like, I need to remember that for next year. So, they're already talking about having to put in time to practice and, really do some work in order to score better next year. So 13th out of 16th today, but they're hoping to get, significantly higher next year. And I think having that first opportunity is what it takes. And so, those types of events, CDE are the one today, but then also competitions are a large part of it. The FFA experience, they also took part of the plant sale that we had going on in the greenhouse. Thank you to all of you that purchased some of those. I think all of you, or at least most all of you in this room, purchased some of those. So thank you. And then also they had their annual banquet where we saw the wisdom of the owls help usher in a new set of leaders to guide the chapter members for next year. Special thanks to Kirk Hutchinson for chiming in when somebody forgot their line. So I appreciate that. And thank you to the retiring officers for their hard work and dedication over the last year. Some of our high school students took the pre-ACT exam at the end of April. These results will be used for by the school for their state. They'll measure, again, what our state assessment is at the high school level is a pre-ACT. We hope to have the results back at the beginning of the summer or hopefully by the end of the year, but with it being the pre-ACT, you're just kind of at their mercy on that one. And then lastly, prom was just 2 days ago. I'd like to thank the Eichler family for hosting us again. And it's definitely unique with the round barn. Not a lot of those in the state, so it's a pretty cool deal. I think my son gets tired of hearing it when I drive him there the last 2 years and I tell him the history of a round barn. He doesn't want to hear about it. So. Our students really look forward to both prom and homecoming dances and the weeks that lead up to them. And congratulations to this year's prom board as well. So some good stuff. And again, some testing, some culminating activities, and those rites of passage I always talk about. So really great.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move to the elementary middle school report.
Yeah, something I'm surprised that Dan didn't mention is we are right in the middle of state testing season. So you sort of,
Yeah.
you sort of did, not really. Anyway, that's a tricky time for our students and our staff. And we've got one middle school teacher that has to conduct 4 different tests. So that's pretty heavy. But we're nearing the end, so it's feeling pretty good. Outdoor school happened a few weeks ago. Kiddos had a great time, 6th graders. And our 8th graders are currently gone on their 8th grade trip. And thanks to Charlie Parr and Rachel and Jake Pelzer, they've been, they're assisting with that trip, and some of them are returning for us as well. So that was great. We've got our ABC countdown. That is, we're right in the middle of it. For example, G was for game day and H was for hat day. Today was K for kickball day. So tomorrow is luau day. We've got the zoo field trip coming up for grades 1 through 3. And our spring musical, The Wizard of Oz. You know, we start out feeling like we might have a small cast and it just keeps growing. So we've got a large cast again this year. And that is students grades 3 and up. And just the PPC auction was up at, what was it called?
The
Chemeketa campus winery. And it was beautiful. And it sounds like they've got some elections coming up next week, June 5th, actually. One more thought that I did not add here that I was kind of an afterthought is I started kind of looking at our electives in the middle school. We added a couple extras this year, a couple new ones, and some of our kids have participated in the survey, not all of them yet, but the feedback we're getting is positive, where we're starting to worry, like, how did the kids enjoy these options? So they've had shop, intro to ag, culinary, and art, and they seem to really enjoy those options. So that's it for middle school elementary report.
Thank you. We'll move to the SPED report. Wasn't sure which one of you.
I'll do the SPED one. So we have 34 students on IEPs. Our coffee cart that they've been running for staff has been successful. Thank you for supporting us. Some of our students are taking a field trip to the escape room in Salem and then having some lunch. This group has been working on social skills, perspective taking, and negotiating, so it should be a lot of fun. Our raffle basket was, it should say, super fun to put together.
Yeah, the recipe book.
No, I know. I just left it super fun. So not just fun, it's super fun. Students, it's just something I would never say. So that's why. Super fun.
I think it's super cool.
Yeah. Right. Students looked up recipes, tried them out, and then put them together in a cookbook. I appreciated the brownies that my son made when he was helping out with it too. So we had everything from dog treats to fruit gummies to entrees. They were all very involved, and it was great to see it come together. So good deal. And then we have our maintenance report. One other thing, we had septic that needed to be drained a little bit earlier than we were hoping for. We were hoping to get another month out of it, but the septic system had another thing to say about that. So we had to have it emptied out on Friday. So a big shout out to A&B septic system company down there in Albany. They made the trek up here to help us out because Kings Pumping we always work with was really just swamped and overbooked. And couldn't get to us this week, but we need to make sure we got it done on Friday. So I very much appreciate them coming out. That being said, Kings Pumping did call back about an hour after that other company was here and said, hey, we'll make it happen today if we have to. So I mean, hey, King's Plumbing was definitely a good partner for us and tried to still make it work that day. So I appreciate that as well.
Thank you. We'll move to item 4B, Spotlight on Education.
Yeah, so this was actually some community items as well, but it was a Goodwill Club that had come and had their meeting again here this last Friday, and McKenna and a couple other students had made the meal for the Goodwill Club. But I thought it was great that the Goodwill Club wanted to have the students and Mrs. Hanson actually help create the meal and do the menu planning with them and then serve that. And the Goodwill Club now has had 3 meetings here in the last year. I really appreciate the fact that they did that. We had last summer, we had a reunion that had taken place here. We're trying to work with them to make that a school function. So that way it kind of limits some of the, costs there for them, et cetera. But, we are definitely, starting to see more coming here and people very interested about the facility and wanting to tour it and take a gander. So it's been really great to have the Goodwill Club here. They traditionally have, done some stuff here, but to have them do it 3 times in a year now has been really great. So really appreciate that. They made a nice donation to the CTE program for creating that lunch, and Mrs. Hanson was very appreciative of that program. So they'll put that towards good use. But just another opportunity for our community to enjoy the campus and give back to the kids too, and our kids interacting with the Goodwill Club. It's really great. We have senior tea coming up, and so that's another opportunity for them to interact with the people in our community and some of our retired citizens. So it's really great.
And we've involved culinary and FFA in that again this year.
Yep.
Where it's been a couple of years where it's been harder to do with just the one staff member. So
Okay, thank you. We'll move to item 4C, the grant. If you would
Yeah.
like to come up.
I'm Jock Dalton. I'm representing the Oregon Natural Resource Education Fund. I'm actually from the Tree Fund system. Chosen to do this. Kurt Fairchild's the applicant, and the grant is for this work and for materials for forestry, timber cruising basically. And I think you mentioned that they were in a contest and this should help in the future. The grant request was funded at $2,400. And okay, there's a whole bunch of spiel here, but just between us, this is great. It's for natural resources. It's for training people so they can succeed in our modern society and the way things are going. We're going to need them. So this is a great thing. I'm glad you guys applied. Glad you got it.
Yeah, those
Right.
2 CTE teachers have been great about going after grants and for things that are going to help our students out later on. So we
You
really
bet.
appreciate you folks
You
recognizing that work and giving them the grant for this.
And I look around here and I say, you gals are doing a really good job of succeeding in a patriarchal society.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you. Keep up the good work.
And they're working on their,
And I have a certificate here for you guys. And do you want, let's see, there's a copy of the application and the distributions to everybody, so we can see what other people got too.
right. Great.
Thank you very much.
All
And I
right.
appreciate it. Take care.
You got it.
Thank you for
See you later. So our 7th or 8th graders that were upset that they had to be here at 7 today, our natural resource group with the forestry group, they had to leave at 5:30 here from here this morning. So they already know some of their logging hours already. So that's good.
Very good.
Thanks again.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
so much.
That's all right.
That's right. Okay, so we'll move to the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Now we'll go to item 6, items for board action, Pacific Impact.
So we have our two guests here from Pacific Impact. They've been working with us since last summer, really. Pass these two around. The first one is from the engineering group that works with Energy Trust of Oregon. So this is their estimate on what we will get as savings, and it's in the second paragraph down. And they gave the updated one on May 19th. As you can see, that was today. And it's actually right under $20,000 a year. It's 19,967 is what the engineering firm said that we would save by utilizing the systems there. The cost to us, with coming out of our general fund budget, et cetera, you can see it on this one is $0. It would come out of a grant that is about $72,500. And then the remaining part would be our Senate Bill 1149, which is about $48,000. So altogether, the project is about $121,000. None of that is coming out of our regular budget. It's all coming out of 1149 if this is a program that you folks would like to move forward with. So our two gentlemen here are from the company that's been working with us with Pacific Impact, and they can go ahead and tell us a little bit more. I asked them to come and speak with you folks, because this is obviously a big decision on that. They do not retain, I'm sure we'll get into this, any of that savings that we get all goes to the district. So none of that is a percent that goes on. Their part of it is up front, and then they'll go over what that includes. So I'll let you guys take it from here, and then I'm sure the board will have questions after.
Yes.
So,
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah.
It's been really great working with Dan and Troy and the rest of the team here at Perrydale. It's always awesome to work with districts that really care about the students, and definitely feel that here. To get into just a little bit more about what we do. So our whole mission 15 years ago from our partners was simply just to find new ways to put dollars back into school districts. Our partners have worked with some of the largest energy companies in the world, the largest one being Schneider Energy, and they just simply wanted to find new ways to put this money back in their community. They used their expertise to create a technology that does this, and we've now been operating in Oregon for the last year doing that. And it's great to be here at Perrydale to bring that same opportunity to your district. Just a little bit more about that. So over the course of the last 15 years, we're in 13 states and counting. Again, recently out here in Oregon and Washington. And that $2 billion, that's money that was previously allocated for utility spending that was immediately put back into the district. So which I'll get into more details, but as Dan was mentioning, that nearly $20,000, that's immediate cash flow going into the district budget per year. And that's what we've been able to do over the last 15 years with that $2 billion. Over 1,800 projects, the 34%, that's just on average, we reduce your utility costs by 34%. And it's not a fixed thing. It actually increases. And most of our districts use the technology to this day. It'll be 10 years plus if they're still finding these savings. Again, this is our whole goal is just for you to be cash flow positive from the start. That's what we do within the state funding and what our technology is able to do. As far as, how that looks and why that's different, typically with energy performance contractors, you're told one thing, which is just you have to purchase new equipment. You have to buy new systems. Your outdated equipment can't find energy savings. That's where our approach is different. Is we found a way to use a technology that reduces your costs significantly and doesn't force you to get into these long-term contracts where you're still paying back the money 15 and 20 years down the road. You're not actually seeing savings. It's more of a focus on the equipment, and the savings is a byproduct. Our entire focus is on the savings, and that's where we're different. We just, and as Dan mentioned, we're not taking any percentages. There's not long-term looks at what the savings is. That's just purely yours and then right back into your budget. Just some quick stories. So that EUI number, that's just your basic energy usage index. That's the industry standard for gas and electric per square feet. the examples I like to bring up is that one up there on the left, Louise. That's a district in Texas, and that 44.8, that's considered the industry standard. That's considered the best in class. They had solar, they had brand new equipment that was 2 years old. And so they were achieving, what was the standard. Our technology still cut it in half. And I like to bring that up because it's not, it doesn't matter what your equipment is. If it's old, I know it's, some stuff is older here at Perrydale. We're just able to find savings no matter what you have. And I like to bring up the other examples. Illinois, it's a more recent example in a different weather pattern. We're all across the U.S. It's not, just based off of humidity or, various factors. We can find the savings no matter what state you're in. This is a really great example that's right here in our area. So this is a multi-use office space. Last September, they have, lots of different concerns. It's a 24/7 like open workspace. So you can imagine all these different comfort concerns, people coming and going. That's something I like to stress because typically with energy savings, you think, rigid set points or taking away teacher heaters, things that, make it uncomfortable. Our focus is on comfort. So we make that more comfortable for you along with finding your energy savings. For this building, projected 35%, which is similar to what you have in front of you, how that number is, which I'll get to, is around, I think it's 24% is what we project. And they started in September, and you can see that light blue, that's the previous year they're spending on utilities, and the dark blue is this year, and you can see just immediately they started saving. And up to this point, they're at, I want to say it's close to 50% that they're saving. And I bring this up because it truly is immediately that you start seeing the savings, you start seeing that money put back into your budget, and it just keeps going up and up. So this is an outlook of what we found. So we worked a lot, since last summer. So we start by just taking a look at your bills. We get an energy base, what your energy base is, and for Perrydale, it was the 66 numbers that usage index. The spend is a little over $82,000, and from there, that's where we find these numbers. So right now, the gear, and we like to bring up Solark because it's a third party person. It's not just, we know the savings that we can find, but we like to use third parties, so it's guaranteed. It's not just coming from us that you'll find these savings. So we project, and this is a conservative. We know it'll increase, but we project that it'll be close to $20,000, which is 24% saved on energy. And again, that's immediately, and that's put back into your budget. As far as what, more specifics of what that looks like, we're replacing 26 controls is what we want to do, which just means thermostats. It means, various things around campus, but mainly those thermostats that incorporate with our smart technology and start saving you money. Along with that, there's some energy efficiency measures and some retro commissioning that all lead to that, close to $20,000 number, which again, fully covered by the state. The biggest piece, which I'll get to more specifics, is our patent technology is called Campus Optimizer. And that's really what finds the savings. So the main things it does is takes temperature and comfort. So it takes, you think of all the different bodies in the rooms. I mean, you can have an occupancy schedule that doesn't account for how many students are in rooms, what's the specific schedule, does a teacher have a break period for an hour? All those things increase your costs, and our technology takes that into account. Uses your calendar. If you use Google Calendar, it just incorporates that. It's not this completely new thing that you need to train your staff on. And combine that with all the events during the day, conditioned rooms. The biggest thing, ramp times of weather. So you could have schedules, but it doesn't account for the weather each day. Our technology takes the weather at 10 p.m. for the previous night, takes that into consideration, combines that with the schedule. And it's not a set thing. If you have, let's say this meeting itself, wasn't on the calendar for some reason, Dan or someone could log in and change that, and the room wouldn't be too hot, it'd be comfortable, and we'd be good to go. It's really that easy. It makes it one software, one place that Troy, maintenance department, or anyone on your staff can easily make those changes. And that visual is really the biggest thing. It's, you know, taking the savings from the demand, combine that with the weather forecast, and it's all with your current event schedule. As far as more specifics, so all the incentives cover the incentives cover that cost 100%. That's, you know, with the SB 1149 funds, combined with our Solar Arc Energy that we work with, they were able to procure that incentive from the state of what they're contributing through Energy Trust, and that includes our campus optimizer technology. It says for 12 months. It's a very small cost. I don't know exactly what it'd be for a district after that, but it's very insignificant. But that's included for the first year. As far as just a quick outlook of what that payment structure looks like, so the total is just over $120,000. The rebate, as you can see, it's a very significant rebate, and that's directly from Energy Trust, and that's guaranteed. You know, as soon as you sign off on doing the project, they guarantee that money put it aside for you. It's guaranteed you'll get that. I want to say 30 to 60 days. Yeah, 30 to 60 days from the project you receive that funding. And that's SB 1149 covers the remainder, that just over $7,000. And then that means you're immediately putting nearly $20,000 back into the district. And again,
Real quick, and that would be into the general fund savings.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to go back into 1149.
Right.
So it's just, we're taking 2 years or 2.5 years of 19,900 to replenish, you know, those Senate Bill 1149. But we're getting that in our general fund. So we can spend that on whatever the school would want to, instead of having to specify items that we can spend it on. Like when we did our remodel job, we got some back for that, but the lights, et cetera, really weren't that much. This would be more that we saved compared with that project. So
yeah, especially for lights, it's a lot more. And the best part, and, you know, really our heart for putting dollars back is just not allowing an alternative for, you know, you having to replace equipment, having to spend all this money. You know, we've had many districts that know they have, which this isn't a situation here, but where they know they have failing equipment, they know they have old equipment that needs to be replaced. Instead of having to replace it, they can use our technology. So they save money and it preserves it for years. So this is another way to just save even more money immediately, as opposed to, you know, getting stuck in those revolving doors of, you know, replacing equipment. And as far as today, it's just looking at that contract. And again, we're a sole source provider. It's patent technology. Because of all the things that our campus, you know, the technology does of integrating calendar, weather, all those things. Then you immediately, once we're implemented, which is quick, it could be quickly. I think it's within the next 1 to 2 months. I think in a month we can get that going, and you immediately start seeing that money put back in your budget. I know you probably have questions. Any questions?
So, I have a question. I've got a couple. So around our HVAC is older, and we know we need to replace it in a few years. So I'm just wondering, like, if we do this now, how will this work with the system then? Like, if we replace it in 2 or 3 years?
Totally.
Yeah.
I think Jason will take this one.
That's a great question. I'm Jason. So very normal, very typical, because often we'll do an install and then someone will change a boiler out and it's a brand new high efficiency boiler, or, you know, they've got a rooftop unit that needs to get pulled and they're crane in a new one and whatever. Our group is there to just connect it back in, not a very involved process. What helps us is if you guys reach out, like if Dan reached out and said, "Hey, I just want you to know we're doing this," then we'd connect with whoever ended up doing the work and kind of go, "Hey, what are you thinking about, you know, equipment wise?" And, you know, maybe be able to help steer it toward us being able to control it easier, or not having to do a bunch of work to figure out how to control it. Because sometimes, you know, you never know what gets recommended. But we don't have any a dog in the fight, so to speak, where we just are for the district and for the success of the district. So we'll say, hey, I know, they're saying this, but this might act, can you have them look at this? Because I think it's going to work better for this space. Because we know all the spaces, we've done the work, we have the, all the maps and everything we've created. And so we're there for you guys to give you help through all that stuff.
And then would there be, like, if that were to happen, then would there also be like maybe a equipment charge or a service charge for you to come in?
I mean, probably it would just depend, but hopefully not.
Usually it's seamless and it just
Yeah.
integrates. It's
Yeah, I'm
not-
just trying to
Yeah,
like,
the
Right.
systems that we put in, the system is designed to be easy, so we can literally over the phone and even see it from where we're at. And so, yeah, there's a lot that's done completely remotely, like some of the projects Micah showed you. We'll have our partners in Texas be like, hey, can you check this boiler? Get over there, the wiring on this and that. We'll send a guy over, and they don't even really know, except for their maintenance guy, because we just want to get it working again and back on our system.
Especially because some districts will have like a company or a contractor they like working with, and it's just easy, or we can work with them. It's not like any additional training or strain.
my other is, you mentioned like 12 months service. It would be helpful for us to just know what the ongoing service charges are.
To 60. I think it's about 60,000 feet. Does that sound right? That's conditioned. I think
Yes.
like 58, 59, 60. I'm pretty sure. So
Nowadays, yes.
Yeah,
Didn't used
yeah.
to be like that, but yeah.
yeah, something like that. So I think it would end up roughly around like $150 a month to save the just $1,800 a month, if that makes sense.
A
It's
year.
just
$1,800 a year.
a month. No, I'm saying it would be about 150 a month for whatever, and I'm guesstimating the software fee for the license, the software, kind of like Microsoft Word or something like that,
Yeah.
to save the couple
Oh,
grand a
gotcha,
month.
gotcha.
And yeah, so something like that. And I can get you the exact number, but it's
Yeah.
going to be less than a couple $100 a
Okay.
month,
And
for sure.
that's not even including, saving all that time for Troy and the rest of the team of how he doesn't, have to be going around as much to each unit. He has it centralized. It cuts down on that staff time as well for your HVAC units.
Yeah, and Micah mentioned it, but it's about a 30% decrease in the use of the equipment. So the way it's managing demand, it's also saying, does this really need to be on right now? A lot of times everything will just turn on in the morning at 5 a.m. to get ready for the staff to come at 6:30 or whatever. And ours is like shifting it in and out and going, oh, there's too much humidity today. It's one of those crazy rain days. Let's pull that out, run the air conditioning a little bit to dry that out. Okay, now it's more efficient. So some of those things cut way back on it's kind of like if you drove your car at 5,000 RPM all the time, or if you always had it at 1,500 RPM. We're basically cutting down on the cycles of that equipment. So it's helpful there too.
And then Dan, I have one question
Yeah.
for you. So the 1149 funds, what can we use those for?
So we have to get those approved by the state. And
Okay.
then there's two people we work with. It depends on if it's new construction or remodel. And they actually probably know that better than we do. But basically anything that's going to save money with energy, but they have to cost out really what it's going to say. Like we had to say, we're going to get new lights. We want to say, okay, what lights do you have? How many? And we have to we have to look at your bills to figure out what your savings will be. And they send out someone else from the third party to engineer and make sure that it really is going to save a certain amount. Otherwise, they won't fund it.
And is it just, it's not like this is Perrydale's amount and we're kind of in line with other districts, or how does that? all
Yeah,
work?
so we get about $9,000 a year.
And it's
But
just
like
them.
they send us a check, it's like a rebate check from PGE, and it just goes into that account and it just
It
sits
just sits
there
there. Okay.
until we have some sort of approval for a project.
We had a project, must have been about 6-7 years ago, that we didn't get approval on, that we had to pay back. It wasn't that much, but it was during our building project. We found out we didn't have approval prior to that, so we had to pay back, what was it, 6,000 that we had to take care of because we didn't have it. So
I was just gonna ask, what was that for? Do you remember? Was it the?
I don't remember, it was lights.
I think it was something with lighting. So we had something in the old gym in the last couple of years that got approved, but because they found when they were looking at that, they had found this other project that we had spent that wasn't approved. So the amount that we got reimbursed went down for that amount. So we were only able to use a certain amount of
For the installation. project.
yeah.
For the one-
So, but I think it was some sort of lighting. The previous one was some sort of lighting project, but I think it was outdoor. I think maybe, yeah, I can't remember. And it's something with lighting. I just can't remember which one. So,
Dan, this is the sheet. This sheet is actually what he's talking about. This is the Energy Trust. The Energy Trust handles the SB 1149 approval process so that it's all under one
Oh, okay.
group. So they already sent this out last week saying, okay, we've studied it all and done the equipment audit and the calculations. And so you'll see two different amounts here because some of it is what's called retro commissioning, which is going into things where we can't replace controls and completely reprogramming it. So that's the smaller amount, but they're basically saying, here's what we'll pay for. Both of them is the 105 and the 14. So they'll basically release all those funds either through SB 1149 or through incentive.
And the two people we work with are actually the two people that are on this. There's also one gentleman that we worked with occasionally, or we did through that process. Saving that, we get it spend it the way we want. So a lot of strings attached with it. And they'll still get about $9,000, each year. Of the 1149 to keep building that back up as well for other projects we may have.
Do we need, for the funds, do we need to make a decision before like the end of the fiscal year?
Doesn't have to be. I mean, we could do it in June if you guys want to think about it for a while. I mean, I'm sure they would like for us to do it now, but I don't want you to feel like you have to. So Amber wanted me to, I think, get the contract, the proposed contract.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Draft.
we don't have a contract, right?
No, we don't have to do it. No, it was a proposed contract that they had sent over, and that was when I emailed about a week and a half ago.
But that wasn't.
That's nothing.
No, that's because he wanted you guys to have it so you could look at it and go, oh, this is what this is.
I knew our board would like to have that a little bit in advance. That way.
Yeah. And typically what'll happen is a district will sign with ETO, with Energy Trust, just to lock it in. Because that study only lasts for a certain amount of months, and then once it expires, then they make you wait. I think the number was 5 years that they make you wait to do a similar study again because they kind of do cycles of stuff.
So this contract is,
I have, sorry,
I thought it was just,
you had the copy of it, but I.
yeah, it wasn't an official one, right? Okay.
Well, this is a copy of the one that we had before, so this is their proposed, so if we're good with it, then we can go ahead and move forward with it. If we're not good with it.
Yeah,
then
this
we
is
don't have
just
to
a
do it.
generic one. This isn't for us.
It actually has like Perry Dollar in it and stuff.
Yeah.
It's the same one that we had sent though, not any changes on it. I printed it off the same exact, it's.
Yeah, sorry, you know what, Amber just showed it to me, and I looked at the email before I put the committee, and then it just like slipped out of my head. I would like to like maybe table this till June and get information on what the just ongoing like contract, like for service contract information would be.
And I would like more information on what the control overlays are, what brand they are, how they work, their function. I don't,
Right now? Sorry. I didn't know if you meant
Well,
to
it
send
could
it out.
be now or it could be over the
It's,
next.
so that's a
I
great
would like
question
it
because, no, I love the question because, a lot of controls are, proprietary, meaning you are locked into their service contract, you're locked into their software update fees, all this stuff. We purposefully use non-proprietary controls. You could go a year, you could save the $20,000 that you're gonna save, which with, and be like, I don't like this anymore. And the controls are, you can use the controls, no problem. I mean, that's the beauty of and they're a company called Pelican. So Pelican controls are in a number of different districts. We're putting them into Junction City right now. Rainier's using them. Park Rose, I think, was one of them that uses them. So they're a common control because they're much more affordable to work with, frankly. And they're easy to repair. They get knocked off the wall by a basketball. You have an extra one on the shelf. And they literally anybody can just pop it in and press a button that says, go to the same programming again, and it'll reprogram it, come right back on. So they're just very easy to work with. And what was you had another question. Oh, service. Yeah. You were wondering about a service agreement. Is that what you were asking?
You had
Or
mentioned that
just
it's
wanting
estimated like
that
150. So what that would be?
I can, yeah, why don't you double check that square footage? Yeah. If I get the square footage, I can just give you the number right now because I know my cost on it.
53,965. Is it in the contract or estimated?
Yeah. Oh, what is it?
53,965.
Okay.
that's what I was just looking for. Where'd you find that at?
Page 3, top.
Yeah. So it's literally I was right. It's literally $150 a month.
That's after the 12 months.
That's after the 12 months. So it
The square footage, but not the 150.
150 would be included for the first year, and then it's 150 a month.
Right.
So software license. Basically, it's my cost for the software licensing is what it is.
But that's not in the contract.
No, it says in the contract that it's included for a year, but then after that year, you would decide if you want to do it or not. It's totally up to you or not. Again, just to be clear, you can use the controls and you could say, hey, we don't want to do this anymore, and that's all right now. So,
Anybody else? Any other?
Plymouth. I can't remember which one.
Klamath,
On your website, I saw Oregon State.
Klamath City schools, is that what they're called? I think it's because there's two different districts. That's what it is. Yeah. They did, but they worked. Their superintendent is from Texas, and he knows the owner of our partner company, so he just went direct to him. So it's the same group putting it in.
And who's your partner company?
They're called Ideal Impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so they went direct to them. It's same technology though, same product.
And Solar doesn't get any, you just paid them for this, to do this? Or we need to pay them when we do this for the study?
Oh, no, that is actually covered by the Energy Trust.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, we did the work for you guys to sit with the representative and go, here's why we think this would be good. And the superintendent pursuing a study and so They paid for it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you
Guys,
guys.
thank you. Safe travels.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, move to item B, resolution 2504.
This is just the intent to rehire classified staff.
So May 31st is our deadline for this. And you can see the list right there of our classified staff. So it's just an intent to rehire those staff members there that are on that page.
I'll make a motion to pass resolution 2504, intent to rehire classified staff.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Do you want me to sign?
Yeah, if you want to keep yours, like you can sign mine, but either one is fine.
Okay, we'll move to resolution 2505.
This one's for special education stipend. It's a one-time stipend from ODE. There's a bill that was passed last year that they wanted to offer a one-time stipend. Everyone in the state that wanted to participate, we had to submit our reporting by December, how many special education staff we had, and then the amount of the stipend was then divvied up. So we just finally got the grant agreement a couple weeks ago, and it has to be paid out by June. So it was I was like, okay. So each stipend is $445 and some change. So this is just to accept that. I did create a new fund for it, just for easy reporting back to them. So it's a fund that will just get used for this, and then it won't get used again after that. So
And how many times have we done that?
I know.
And this was just like to support the program.
Yeah,
There weren't any,
just,
any new requirements.
no, it was if you have any, it's for all sped staff as of like December 1st or 15th got reported. This is how many we have, and as long as they were still working for you by the time you that you did the stipend, then they get one. So
And so the staff are actually gonna get the stipend or?
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
great.
And they have to, was it 80 or 50% of their time or more had to be working directly with.
yeah, so it ended up only being our special education staff, so teacher, admin, all of our instructional assistants, and our autism specialists. So we had 11 altogether that are getting that stipend.
It's fantastic.
So that's what that's for.
So you need a motion?
Yes, please.
I move to approve resolution 25-05.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. So
And then they're like, here you go, you gotta have it done. I was like,
I've heard so many.
and the grant agreements went like they sent them out, and they went to like food service directors, people that didn't work in the district anymore. Like I had I think 3 phone calls and 3 emails in, like, I haven't got my grant agreement yet. And they finally sent it, and I ended up getting like OSDs. And then on the same day, several people, I think like the alphabet, it shifted because there were some that start with P that were getting another school that started with P, but later in the alphabet. And so, and I was like, can I just have mine?
yeah.
I'm running out of time here.
Okay, move to item D, WESD Zone 1 for Bradford election.
So this one person running, Dr. Vargas, who when I looked at him up online, he has his MBA. He's worked in the Salem Kaiser district there as a member, and that he's already currently serving on the district board for Women ESD Zone 1. And he has been looking for looking for, a vote from you folks to be reappointed. So some guys, everybody talks about getting out of Polk County, so maybe not,
I was gonna say,
unless he was in, Monmouth, is that where he's from? Yeah. It's just working, so that's what it was.
or he's like director of, I don't remember, something community
Yeah.
outreach, yeah.
And this vote is a Google form. It's not anything you have to sign. So I can forward it to you, or I can potentially also fill it out. It doesn't necessarily need to come from you. So
You have
whatever you
that link
guys,
already,
I
correct?
do. Yeah.
It just came from Tishri, the executive secretary of the ESD. You just have to send it to her, tomorrow, the next day, but just have to get it to her.
What happens if we don't though? Nothing. It happens. Absolutely nothing. We didn't last time either.
Yeah. Okay,
I think it motion just
I
died.
think it just died. Okay, so we'll move on to item E, kindergarten and eighth grade enrollment.
Yeah, so kindergarten, we did kindergarten roundup and we have just 11, 10.
11.
Correct. 11 students that had signed up for kindergarten. In the past, what we had kind of looked at was a number of around 24 or less. Our current kindergarten teacher just asked that we don't do more than 24 because in the long run, because of her desk that she has.
Her trapezoid tables.
But
Laugh until you try to do something different.
I forgot she was here. I was thinking of her. Yeah, surprised somebody didn't come punch me. But anyway, so in the past, we've gone, a couple short of that to make sure that if we have some additional kids that come in between now and August, that we have the space. If we don't fill those additional 2 or 3 spots, then we can go ahead and open up those additional spots at that time after our other registration. So I'd encourage the board to consider doing that with kindergarten. We are currently, again, looking at 11 that have registered for this next year. We thought we had 9, but then 2 others did come. So we've already kind of had that curveball, but we think that's most of the curveballs that we'll get. And then with our 8th grade, we have kind of that yearly exodus that I know Trina, you and I have talked about before at meetings. We have this year 4 confirmed. I spoke with families today that we knew had been talking about this for a while. And so I did talk with the parents of the 6 students that we had heard from that they were possibly going to move. So 4 did confirm, the parents did. And then 1 was, we may, but mom wants to make sure that she thinks about it a little bit longer. And then 1 was, we're probably not going to make that move now. So that's where we are right now. We currently have 26 students in that class. So we have 4 that are looking to move out. So like what we had done with the seniors before, looking at trying to fill some of the spots now if we know that we're going to have a decent number of students that may be leaving. So that one we were looking at.
What's that class size?
What's that?
What is that class?
26 right now.
26.
And that's approximately what we had for our freshmen and sophomores that we opened up for last year. We still have a lower number of juniors going to be seniors next year, I should say. We still have that numbers, the last lower class, and then as far as the numbers, and then that will increase with this year's sophomore class later on.
So how many, so you're thinking, so you're asking to,
Add probably a few more juniors.
instead of waiting for registration?
Yeah, because we know the less we have to wait till after registration, if we know we have a decent amount of spots open, then if we can fill 2 or 3 of those spots, then the chance of someone moving when it's the beginning of summer, instead of, August 15th or 10th or whatever, maybe probably closer to 10. Just a greater number. Same with our kindergarten students. Normally, that's why we look to do it, because parents don't like to wait until August 10th if they don't have to.
So how many are you asking for eighth grade?
Eighth grade would probably be 3, 2 or 3.
And then kindergarten, you want up to 20 or 22?
I would say 20.
20.
I make a motion to open kindergarten enrollment for up to 20 students in the class. And for eighth grade, up to 25. That would be 3 more.
I actually think our open enrollment has to be a specific number.
The slots.
Yes.
Say the number of slots instead of.
Okay.
Yes.
Or I'll amend that to 9 slots for kindergarten and 3 slots for, well, it would be 9th grade now.
And did you need something for junior? Because we do have it going on.
Well, right now with juniors, we have a total of 20. So yes, if we can say up to
So for
5
junior,
slots.
5 more.
And I'll amend again, 5 additional slots for grade 12.
Still worth a try.
Got all that, Vanessa?
Sure do.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. Good luck.
Godspeed.
We'll move to the business manager contract.
You want to speak to this one?
I can, did you want them to have a copy or?
Yeah.
Yep, we got a TA on everything, and a 3-year contract moving forward. So. I think, this did get sent out earlier though, yes, because everybody got this, okay. So, yep, I think we're all good to go, everything's closed out. Any questions or comments or anything?
The one we have to officially sign off at a different date, because this was from the April 21st when we thought it was going to be that.
Oh, it's probably in the office.
Yeah.
I printed it. I just think I left it on the copy machine.
I'll make sure you get a chance to do it before you get it.
Move that we approve the business manager contract in Paradise School District and City.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. We'll move to the classified bargaining. Thank you, Cindy. To the classified bargaining agreement.
And then this one was the one that had the changes on it with yellow.
Did you have the other copy?
Yeah, we can get that for.
I'm so
Just
sorry.
wanna make sure we do all the yellow ones first.
Not for missing down.
Passing around.
Yeah. We figured this was easier to see the.
Yeah.
All the changes.
Is there more are we passing more around?
No, I do, well, it's just really, as well. Give me one to Jay.
Might as well give one to Jay.
If we have one, I need one for the record too, to go in our binder. Everything at the meeting.
Okay, this is your guys' show.
Oh, okay. So we received an agreement on the following items. The first change on page 10, that they would have 30 minutes of continuous prep time for the IA, the SPED IA and Gen IA staff. On page 10, the adjustment on what holidays are approved for both 12-month and the 9-month employees. If you remember, we traded out.
I didn't number
I'm
them.
on the wrong. am I-
They're all page 10. I don't know why. I didn't
Oh,
I didn't
sorry,
number
I'm
them.
saying page 10 and not even noticing.
Yeah, I didn't number them. That's amazing. Good job, Jake. Good job. Taking sides
Good
catch.
Said was Article 5.
Article 5, that's the continuous
Okay.
part-time. And then the holiday changes, I can't remember.
We
what
traded
was
out
traded out. I can't
the
remember
day
exact
after
ones.
Thanksgiving, I think,
Yes,
and
MLK.
traded it for MLK.
Yeah,
So that now they're going to have MLK and President's Day as paid holidays instead of they had one of those and then
And then
the
not
day
the
after
other.
Thanksgiving. So they're not going to have the day after Thanksgiving and they'll have the 2 Monday holidays.
then on paid leave, it says articles on the top, so I think that would be Article 8, but
Yeah, paid leave is Article 8.
that
It's the same here.
this is the placing the sick leave modification that we gave them last year, putting that permanently into the contract. And then taking out the requirement that I think that was still another change, that leave may be taken in after full day increments.
But it can actually be taken hourly.
This is a Article 10. This is a 3-year contract. And it removes the one-time bonus that we had in place in the last contract. Puts in, Article 11 puts in the insurance rates. And that might be the last. I think that was the last one.
Yeah. And then the new salary schedules.
And then the salary schedule, which we did 4 through 3. Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah.
We did what? We changed it.
No, the increases were 4 through 3.
4, 3.
Yes.
And then that one that has the correct date, should have the correct date on that one. And then here's the one with Cindy that has the correct date.
And we didn't change any of the.
We did not change any of the table.
It was 2 through 12. We
Oh,
just
that's
changed
right.
it 1 through 11, but
We
nothing,
changed the number.
nothing shifted. Just the one. It's now step 1 through 11 instead of 2 through 12.
No individual positions were changed on the schedule. I make a motion to approve the classified bargaining agreement.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, sorry, when I make the motion, I just don't feel like I have to say anything again.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Okay.
No, silence is.
Yeah,
that's true.
It is, it is. Okay, and then we'll move to. I'm sorry, Cindy. Here. Did you want to
Well,
talk?
thank you for all the hard work to both
Yes.
sides of the negotiating. Thank you.
Okay, so then we'll move to item 8 for comments.
So there you go. Thank you, everybody. for all the hard work on both sides. I know it's never comfortable, and I just appreciate the hard work and the dedication and time.
Vanessa, thanks for taking notes too
You're welcome.
during those meetings.
Okay.
They didn't keep their own notes? You came
They
to
did.
it for
They
them?
did.
They did.
Oh, wow. Yeah, thank you.
No,
That's a big, wow.
I wanted to see how that process worked because I haven't been here for that yet. So
Well, I didn't know you were doing that. So then when I showed up with her, I'm like, oh, I don't have to write anything now? Oh,
Yeah.
good. That was nice.
Well, you need a gift basket.
Yeah.
One that can't come into the school.
Yeah.
I remind you that our contract is up this coming year, so.
Do you want to know?
Okay, so announcements and dates of appointments.
Oh,
Yes.
we need to talk about graduation.
Yep. We have to make sure we have that stuff solidified. There's only 4 of you, so I figure if you want to do 2 and 2, plus someone for graduate kinder, I don't know if you.
I'm definitely doing high school.
So we'll do that. We'll look at the graduation first. So.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to do high school?
I don't mind doing that with you as well, unless anybody else wanted to do it.
I'd like to do middle school.
I can do middle school. Okay.
But I don't see where, oh, there it is.
6-9.
Eighth grade
Sorry.
promotion, there it is.
Sorry.
6-9.
On the 9th.
Yeah, I see it.
Easier for us to not have to redecorate everything. We just do that Monday. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And then kindergarten graduation, I know Trina, you had said that you
Yeah,
thought you could
I
do
would,
that
I would do it.
during the day. So.
It was really fun. I didn't mind doing it.
All right.
I just have a grandson in high school this year, so I didn't want to do 8th grade promotion. I want to do high school. Because I will hug him in front of everybody, embarrass him.
It's your right to be able to do. It's one of the perks.
You wanna go to the-
Yep, go ahead. And so we have awards coming up on 6/4 for middle school in the morning. And then the next day we're doing high school awards. That's the seniors' last day also. So after the high school awards, they'll get in their cap and gown a little bit later and go parade around to the kids as well. And then middle school will be going to Bullwinkle's for their reward day, and elementary in the afternoon will be doing field day while seniors are doing grad practice for part of it, and then they'll have their lunch and then go out for the rest of the field day if they want to interact with the kids. We'll probably go home though, or do something else. But the rest of our high school kids will actually work with those students for elementary field day. It'll be Chris's last elementary field day as well. So 28 years now he's done this.
Wow.
And then, the high school graduation is that Saturday. And you see the 5th grade bike trip coming up the 10th, kindergarten graduation, and the last day of school, etc. So there's a lot going on. We do
Not
have,
figure out what KG was.
you're like Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Garnett.
Yeah. So we do have, I don't think Chris or LeVay is watching this, but we do have an assembly plan the last day at 9 a.m. for our retiring individuals. So we are counting LeVay as part of our crew. And so we'll be doing an assembly for them from 9 to 9:30. And then later that afternoon for any of our departing staff, we're doing a luncheon. Board's welcome to join us. And then we're also looking at inviting some of our volunteers.
This is
to
the last day.
The last day.
On the 12th.
We used to do the breakfast that got a little bit difficult to get out of there on time and get with the kids. So we have that luncheon afterwards that they're able to join us for that.
This is way out of topic. I mean, maybe I should have asked this a long time ago. This is the ONREF grants.
Natural resource education. Yeah.
So our kids are getting clinometers, compasses, logging tape, and Biltmore sticks. Are we logging?
We're doing the forestry class, yes.
Well, where are they going to use these items?
So for the forestry program, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, the compasses, I saw them using them out in the parking lot the other day, just kind of finding their
But a
way.
clinometer, logging tape, Biltmore sticks, you need some really big trees
And I know that they were planning on going up to
Oh,
a forest.
Like McDonald Forest?
Yeah, so,
Oh, sweet.
so what they're looking at was like, when I was talking about practicing for an event like this,
Mhm.
actually taking the trip and going and doing those things
That
in
is
order to
super
get that
cool.
practice. So the Kirk was just talking to me about that earlier today.
Okay, that is super
So-
cool. You guys can see what some of the other schools got for grant money. That's Dan's copy. I snagged it from him. I just was like, man, that's very specific equipment.
Oh, we did well.
Yeah, yeah. I thought you guys might like to see that too. I didn't ask Dan. I took it off.
Yeah,
Just-
that's all right.
I stole it.
Well, if they want to connect with the college, with the managers.
Definitely.
Yeah. Or if they want to go to a little forest. on
Yeah,
Prairie
right.
Dale Road, we might have one that maybe isn't well groomed.
That might be perfect for them. That might be a great experience.
I might have some
The
contacts
last
too.
board meeting, we're gonna end up doing the rest of the
Maybe
budget committee and finalizing that all out. So do we want to do that?
Yeah, the budget committee doesn't have to be there for
Right.
that part.
So do we want to do work session and then fit that in between?
The
work
budget
session and
hearing.
board?
That's what we were doing. We
It
usually,
only took a-
like, it's literally open it and see if there's any comments, which up to this point there haven't been, and then close it. So yeah.
And that would be after the work session.
Yeah, work session and then budget hearing, and then I have it down for 6:55 is what I have it scheduled for.
Perfect. Okay, that's perfect.
So.
All right, then we will adjourn at 8:15.
Thank you.